Hey everyone, I've got a question for you. What are you afraid of? Now, as you're thinking about the answer to that, maybe several answers, I want to once again turn into the Bible to the book of Matthew, and we're going to look at chapter 14. This is a story that you've probably heard before about Jesus walking on the water. It's also when Peter tried to walk on the water as well. So the story is Jesus and the disciples had just left a huge group of people that were listening to Jesus as he spoke. That was on the hillside, and this is the story about the feeding of the 5,000. This is when it was getting late, and the disciples said, hey, we need to send these people away so they can go and eat. And Jesus said, well, we can feed them. The disciples only came up with 5 loaves and 2 fish, and Jesus blessed it, and there was enough for not only the 5,000 men to eat, but also women and children. And there were still some left after that. So the disciples had witnessed this great miracle, and Jesus sent them across the lake and said, I want you to get in the boat, go across the lake, I'll meet you there, but I'm going to go up on the mountain and I'm going to spend some time in prayer, which he did. It was just before dawn, and Jesus was walking across the lake. Now it was windy out, the lake had swells of waves, and the disciples were struggling to get to the other side. And when they saw Jesus walking on the water, they were afraid. It says, the Bible says that they thought it was a ghost. And Jesus said, don't be afraid, it's me. And Peter said, Lord, if it's you, tell me to come out to you and walk on the water. And Jesus said, come. And so Peter did. He stepped out of the boat and started to walk toward Jesus. But then he started looking at the wind and the waves around him, and he began to sink. Jesus grabbed him and saved him. They got in the boat, and suddenly, it says, the wind and the waves stopped. Now, I want to point out something here. The question of what are you afraid of? I also want to add to that, what are you afraid of that is keeping you from doing what Jesus has called you to do? It's an important question. And as we see here, it says in chapter 14, verse 31, Peter started to sink, and immediately Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. You have little faith, he said. Why did you doubt? And when they climbed in the boat, the wind died down. Then those who were in the boat worshiped him, saying, truly, you are the Son of God. Now it's important to realize that Jesus said, Peter, you had such little faith. Why did you doubt? But I also look at the guys in the boat and say, they didn't even have the faith to get out of the boat. So I want to encourage you, when things are clouding your vision and keeping you from seeing Jesus because of the storms in your life are so big, trust in him.